What's up, guys? How we doing? How we doing? Twisted Metal episodes 6 and 7 dropped today, so I'm going to be reviewing those. I appreciate your guys' support on the reviews thus far. As you know, so far through this season, I've been a little bit harsh. Keep in mind, this is just my opinion. It's art, it's subjective. If you enjoy the show, I'm happy for you. If you don't enjoy the show, let me know why in the comments or if your opinion lines up with mine or whatnot. Or join Discord. We got a movie channel and TV show channel in there. Would love to talk to you guys about this more in depth. But whatever the case may be, whatever your opinion on the show may be, I'm just happy that we're here talking about the IP, watching the show, and that it exists for us to talk about. I've been a little bit harsh on the show up to episodes 5, and here we got 6 and 7. And to start off right off the bat, I'm getting into it. My tiny brain cells is seeing action, so I'm starting to like it. No, so in episode 6, we open up with John talking to Calypso in the past, and he's somehow magically making drinks appear, and the fangirl in me is really excited because it looks like we are going to explore the origins of Calypso. Now, I don't want to ruin it for anybody out there that hasn't played the games or doesn't know the origins of Calypso, but you could make an entire prequel show just dedicated to Calypso and his life. And I was wondering, because there's so many different directions that this show could go, if they're going to go the direction of, explaining his origins and why he is who he is, and it does look like they are. And so that's exciting. So yeah, we open up with John talking to Calypso, and Calypso basically asks, John, if you could wish for anything, what would it be? And, John names off things like a house, a family, and Calypso just talks about how he's alone and that you're basically better off alone. And John asks him what he would wish for, and he says that he just wishes to be seen, to be recognized, and manages to start a fire with just his hands, do a couple things, and then we get the title. And last episode dropped off right in the middle of Mayhem having trouble in the tournament, so Roadkill turns around to come and save her, and they do so. My dumbass did not realize that the douchewad was Spectre from the games. I don't know how I didn't realize that. I also didn't realize the bug lady was Goggle Eyes from Twisted Metal 4. I mean, that's gotta be her, right? So it was a male in the games, but I'm guessing that's Goggle Eyes. Anyway, they go back to save her, and boy did I predict this. Dollface ends up, helping them out and goes to use the EMP, and the EMP doesn't work. Mr. Grimm is behind her, shooting at her, and she's on her four-wheeler, turns around, shoots the turret at him, then turns back around, gets impaled by, I forget the names of all the groups. It's not the Butchers, it's the other one, Scavengers, something like that. Dollface gets killed. And I totally called that last week in the comment section, because in the games, her character, well, it depends on what game you're pulling from. They pull a lot of their stories from Black. In Twisted Metal Black, she gets the mask basically hammered to her face, and it's binding to her face, and her wish is to take it off. Her story is actually amazing, which is a shame that she just kind of got reduced to John's brother, and that's why I knew that John's sister, and that's why I knew that she would die. But the ending for Dollface is one of the more beautiful endings, because she wins the competition, and her wish is to have the key to remove the mask, and she gets it, and she decides not to remove the mask, and that she now has the power to remove it but she doesn't want to, and she has overcome her trauma and her abuser. It's actually a really good story. Anyways, Dollface gets killed. I called that shit. And who else dies? Somebody else died. Junkyard Dog. Junkyard Dog gets an axe to the back of the head, and yeah, we complete our first challenge. So in my last review episode, I complained that I don't want multiple people to live. This is supposed to be a battle royale, and a commenter pointed out that they've never mentioned that this is a battle royale, and that's a good point. And I don't think that they are leaning in the battle. It seems like here's these challenges, X amount, are gonna live. It doesn't seem like it's gonna be a situation where only one person survives. So, which is interesting. And yeah, so the first challenge was to get a package over to here, and so the people that survive are Raven, Calypso, Raven, Roadkill came in last, Mayhem, Mr. Grimm, Axel, Frostbite, Goggle Eyes, Spectre, I think that's, and Sweet Tooth and Stu, and Mike, and them, and Preacher. They survive, then they're treated to an overnight stay at a high school. They get refreshments and fed, and Calypso goes over the rules. No killing outside of, the tournament, which they all throw a fit about. And, yeah, this part I didn't like. Alright, so Calypso calls them in one by one to all make their wish. And I don't understand why they're making the wish now. I don't like that. I don't like that writing choice. Like, the wish is usually made at the end, and the only reason that they're making the wish now is not only to cause conflict between the racers, especially with Quiet saying what she wished for. Now she's like target number one. But now Calypso can manipulate and pick favorite. You know what? I just don't like that decision to already make the wish. And you had that plot line that we'll get to that's sprouting from that. But so everybody makes their wish one by one, and Quiet does her wish, which is to bring all the walls down. Which, keep in mind, this is what Dollface, John's sister, gave her life for. This is what she wanted the wish to be. And Quiet goes and makes the wish, and then John, behind her back, also makes a wish to bring Dollface back to life. I do not like this. I do not like that move. I understand that John is hurt, that he just lost his sister, but man, it really didn't seem like there was a lot of emotional weight there. And her dying wish was for Quiet to win and bring the walls down. If Dollface were to be reincarnated and find out that, they had the choice to bring all the walls down or bring her back to life, I don't think Dollface would be very pleased with the fact that she was brought back to life, and didn't get all the walls taken down. So, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that. It's different. I like that they're going for different. But anyway, they make their wish, and that's the end of that episode, right? Isn't that the end? Yeah. He wishes for, and so now we find out one car has two different wishes, which brings up how the hell is that going to work. I'm also still very curious as to, if they're going to do the twist on the wish. Surely they are. Oh, and we get a moment where Raven is talking to Calypso, and Raven was never supposed to enter the tournament. She was supposed to send John as her driver, and he doesn't want her fucking with the tournament. Apparently they have a history, and you have a brief moment where Calypso's eyes turn red, which is hinting at his origin. And gosh, Raven, I know I've said it already, she's so fun. And I'm actually playing as her right now in Twisted Metal Black. I'm just finally got past the minion boss. I beat Twisted Metal Black as Sweet Tooth, and I have just struggled, man, as any other character. But I'm going through right now as Shadow, driven by Raven. And I just beat Minion. Now I'm stuck on level 5, the one where you start off and you're inside a little building and versus 2 opponents, and then you kill them, and then it opens up. That level is hard, man. Or I just suck. It could be that. Anyway, that was episode 6. Episode 7. I actually really liked episode 7. Probably my favorite episode so far. 6 and 7, we're getting into the meat. I'm enjoying it. So the way I'm going to do this is I'm going to review each episode, right? And then after the season's over, I'm going to go through and I'm going to watch it all in one sitting. And then I'm going to review the season as a whole. I really do think this show suffers from being 30 minutes long each episode, which is, I'm really happy they're dropping 2 episodes at a time. But you feel that, you know, like everything's wrapped up so quickly, and like, you know what I mean? Like it's all just like, damn, that's the ending already. Shit. But anyway, on episode 7, so John feels guilty that he made that wish behind Quiet's back, and we open up with Axel coming over to talk to John and say like, hey, you look guilty. What's up? Which I don't know why you would care, but John tells him that he made a wish behind her back, and then they kind of like talk shit to each other, and then Axel rips one of the guns off of the roadkill car and takes it. They have barely showed Axel driving in the competition, especially this episode, because look, I love Axel. He's a fan favorite, alright? Axel's a badass. But realistically, all you do is get shot once and you're dead. He's not made of metal. So you can't really show him in the competition behind all these cars shooting at him because he would just die. Kind of the same with Mr. Grimm, you know? Like, what happened to Dollface realistically would have been what happened to Axel and Mr. Grimm. But they banter about what their wish was. Everybody's talking and sharing what their wish was, which is another reason why I don't like that they went ahead and did this, because now everybody knows what everybody's wish is, causing more tension. Spectre wished to fly. That's definitely a Spectre thing to do. He's such a douchewad. Mayhem wished for invincibility, but I do think she's lying. I forget. Oh, the Goggle Eyes wished for human extinction. What did Preacher wished for? Basically the same thing, that they ruled the world. And then Quiet said her wish to bring down all the walls. We didn't hear what Sweet Tooth's or Raven's wish was, which Raven insinuated that, you know, in the first episode, that her wish is to bring back her friend, and that is in the games. That at Twisted Metal Black seems to be where they're pulling all their storylines from, because that is straight out of the games. Her friend that's in a coma, I'm guessing that would be her wish, but we didn't hear it, so that's just an assumption. But then Quiet reveals that she wants to bring all the walls down, and everybody is instantly mad about that. And then Calypso also gives them a head start on this tournament since they came in last, and gives them a GPS. And this challenge is to go and pick up a total of 6, I don't even know what you call them, 6 like arrow thingies, and make it across the finish line. And even with that 1 minute head start, John is so ridden by guilt due to the fact that he has lied and made this wish behind Quiet's back that he's off his game. And he's unable to drive. He keeps looking down at the mask, and then they switch seats, and he's not being a good, GPS man, wingman, and they're just not clicking, right? And then they get to one of the places. There's 6 different places that they got to go to and pick this thing up and then cross the finish line, and they can kill each other outside their cars. So I don't believe most of everybody would have ended up at the same spot, but whatever. It's in an ice rink, and we get a silly scene of them all trying to crawl to the ice. Anyway, Sweet Tooth ends up with it. They take off. And so John and them got to go. John and Quiet got to go to a different location to get one. Then we cut to my favorite scene of the episode, Mayhem being tracked down by Axel. Axel shooting at her and whatnot, which again, I don't understand how Axel ended up. We never see Axel get the thing and cross the finish line. He goes from shooting at her to just disappearing, and then we see him in the end. But Mayhem crashes her car into a building. It happens to be a building containing the item that she needs, but Spectre is already there. And we get a kick-ass fight between Mayhem and Spectre, and Mayhem fucking kills him. Straight up dead. And everybody got bummed out. And then, because she wrecked her car, she steals Spectre's car, and it's actually like voice automated and drives for her and has its own profile, which I find cool. The only nitpick I have with that is if it was that technologically advanced, you would think it wouldn't drive unless it was the driver of, the car. I forget his name. But anyway, I'll overlook that, and Mayhem ends up winning after killing Spectre. And then we flash to Roadkill. There's only one thing left. I don't know what to call them. They're just like little, we'll just call it a package. One package left to get and then cross the finish line. And Preacher has already got it. And it isn't Preacher, it's a baby and the 2 people taking care of them. And the baby is supposed to be Preacher reincarnated. I really wish we got Jay this season. I know that they wrote him kind of silly and that Preacher's backstory is actually really dark. Like in season 1, when he says he killed a church full of people, that's actually true. And he killed a baby. Like, that's straight. All these storylines they're pulling from Twisted Metal Black, while mixing in the humor and the campiness of the first 4 games, which I do think they're blending well. Anyway, so they basically have a showdown, and Quiet goes out and fights one of the guys while John is covering her ass shooting at the other guy. And his gun gets jammed, she gets beat, and John goes to take out a boomerang missile, and I'm going to tear this apart in a minute. That gets the boomerang missile and then goes to aim it at the guy, and he's like, where the fuck did he go? Dude comes and steals it, and I knew right after that what was going to happen. They jump into their car, and now it's a chase. Like, this is it. This is, if they don't get this from Preacher, they're dead. And I don't know why Preacher would even bother shooting back at them with the lead that they had. But, he asks Preacher, what do we do? And Preacher says, kill them, the baby, who is somehow supernaturally, like, more strong than normal. So there's definitely a supernatural element there. And he shoots the boomerang missile, and the boomerang missile goes to John and Quiet's car, stops like an inch short of it, and then comes right back and explodes the Preacher car. That is stupid. Okay? What is the purpose of a weapon that shoots and comes back at you? I understand it's in the name. I understand what boomerang means. I'm not dumb. But what is the point of a weapon that shoots a missile that comes straight back at you? You know? Like, unless you're gonna shoot it, then move out of the way, and like, I don't know. Whatever, man. I knew that that's what was gonna happen as soon as he took it. And that's what happened. The missile blows up Preacher, but the kid is somehow magically unharmed. And he's got the package. And John tries taking it out of his hands, but the kid won't let go and is super powerful somehow. And so they just pick up the kid and cross the finish line. Also, Grim gets into Sweet Tooth's vehicle even though he doesn't have a package, but because they cross the finish line all together with the package, that counts. That was cheap. You know, like, we're not getting shots of Grim and Axel fighting because realistically, going up against a car with machine guns and whatnot, they really wouldn't last, you know? Like, I love Mr. Grim and Axel. That isn't a spit on their character. It's just, it's really hard to bring them to life in a car combat tournament, you know? But Mr. Grimm is definitely messing with Sweet Tooth's head. Couple of funny lines from Sweet Tooth. But, yeah. Andy threatens Stu because Stu screwed with them in the last episode. He wanted to basically... Sweet Tooth basically wanted to just kill himself to kill Grimm, and Stu decided not... obviously did not do that. And so Sweet Tooth says, get in my way again, and, I will end you. And we have Mike and his friend. I don't like that they exist. Alright? I don't like that Mike and his friend, like, I don't even know what character they would be. Like, Frostbite and them are not characters in the games. At least not that I know of. I know that you do have Mike and Stu driving what vehicle in Twisted Metal? I think it's in Twisted Metal 4 or Twisted Metal 3. It doesn't matter. But the whole, like, friendship thing between Stu and Mike, and just, it's so, like, Mike and his new friend just, like, I don't know, man. It's so cringy. They're, like, putting their arms around each other every time you see them. They're just broing out, and, like, Stu's getting jealous and wants to try to get away from Sweet Tooth and join that inner circle, and I just don't understand why. Look, I get that Sweet Tooth is crazy and he's over here threatening you, but at the same time, he kind of saved your ass and has been your companion. Yes, you're with him because you're scared, not really because he's your friend, but at the same time, you want to leave him to go be friends with the dude that was willing to kill you 3 times at every turn and is now guilt-tripping you for being with... That whole plot line, I don't really care for. And yeah, we get across the finish line, and so Spectre is out, Preacher is out, I think Frostbite is out. I don't remember seeing her at the end, but I'm not sure. And that's pretty much it. Raven's kicking ass. John ends up giving baby Preacher to Calypso, which I'm sure is going to end up coming to play later, because they both seem like they have a supernatural element to them. We have a short conversation between Mayhem and Quiet about the fact that this is Mayhem's first kill. And yes, as I actually do like the joke that they're making, the sexual innuendo that her first kill was her first. Like, they're basically talking about it as if it was their first time having sex, but it's really about her feeling guilt over her first kill, and they talk about that. And then Quiet goes to John and is like, hey, what the fuck is up with you, dude? Like, we are not in sync. What is going on? And John reveals that he made a wish too. Credits. Bam. Alright, so 6 and 7. Not bad. We're getting into the meat. I'm very interested. I'm very interested in Calypso and the fact that it does look like we are going to go at least find out his origin and whatnot. Like, there's so many different directions that they can take this franchise, and I'm really excited about it. But they all got Roadkill has big targets on their back right now, and especially from Raven. And Raven and Calypso seem to be button heads, and I'm very curious in that. And Sweet Tooth and Stu. I hope Sweet Tooth doesn't get screwed over by Stu. One thing I'm very curious about is, in a lot of the games, Sweet Tooth's story ends up with him actually getting one over on Calypso, and I'm curious if they're gonna go that route or if he's just gonna be confined to, you know, just another player. I thought these episodes were decent, like, for the most part, and, you know, I think maybe I was a little bit too harsh on episodes 1 through 5. That's why I'm gonna do a rewatch and sit down and watch them all at the same time. However, episode 4, where they go to Diesel City, that shit, the EMP didn't even work. So that entire episode was just a filler episode because John and Quiet didn't get any of the weapons from the vault. The EMP that they got didn't work. That episode quite literally was for nothing. So my mind isn't going to change on that. But, yeah, I'm digging it. I'm definitely excited for more. And, you know, look, it's just awesome seeing this come to life. And I'm over here playing Twisted Metal Black. And, yeah, it's a good time to be a Twisted Metal fan, man. Yeah, I'm really happy they made the games accessible. And, yeah, thank you for watching this review, and I will see you next Thursday. Love you guys.